Hi, I'm Alexis with Local Ambrosia, and today we'll be doing a really fun twist on the French classic, steamed mussels. We'll be doing more Asian-inspired flavors today with some lemongrass, ginger, red pepper flakes, and some coconut milk on top. We'll get started today by debearding and cleaning up our mussels that we're going to use. To debeard them, you're going to want to just give it a good tug and wiggle up and down, and it'll come off with a little bit of pressure. The other thing you want to look for are any mussels that are slightly open and have a hollow sound to them. A good mussel is going to sound tight. Now we'll get our aromatics ready. This dish is going to cook incredibly quick, so you're going to want to get everything prepared ahead of time before you even turn on your oven. We'll get started with 3 cloves of garlic. With the classic mise en place, which is the best French accent I can do, you want to get everything prepped ahead of time. And a lot of times you'll see that they ask of you to put each separate ingredient into separate little dishes, which I think requires way too much cleanup at the end. So how I do it is I put them all into one dish depending on when you're going to cook it. So for this dish, we're going to cook all of the aromatics, the garlic, the ginger, the red pepper flakes, and the lemongrass all at the same time. So I'm going to just put it all into one little dish. Now for the ginger. I like to use a microplane for this. It gives it a much finer texture, you don't have to worry about peeling it, and it goes much quicker. I would do about equal parts of both the ginger and the garlic. As you can see, I don't usually use measuring instruments, I kind of just eyeball it. When I'm looking at recipes to see what I want to make, I look at ratios more than actual quantities, and then obviously play around with it. If you don't like ginger as much as you like garlic, go ahead and use more garlic. A lot of it will accumulate on the underside, so just give it a good squeeze. And now for our lemongrass. Lemongrass looks a little daunting at first, but it's really not too bad. The inside is super tender, the outside's a little bit dry, so just cut away the areas that look a little rough. You really only need the oil of it, so what you can do is cut it into a manageable size and just hit it with the back of the knife. That's going to release all those oils for when you put it in your hot pan. And now we will get ready our 2 herbs that we'll top it off with. I would like to use a combination of the classic parsley that you find in the classic French dish, and add something a little bit different, which you find in more Asian flavors, which is the cilantro. Now, a lot of recipes will call for the leaves of cilantro or the leaves of parsley, but I just don't have the patience to take off each individual leaf. So just give it a haircut. Wad it up into a ball and run your knife through it. Looks great. And while we're here, we might as well get our garnish ready. And to keep with that classic Asian flavor, and profile. I'll just do some lime wedges. And I think we're ready to move to the stove. Take your largest dish that you have, because you're going to want to give them plenty of room to steam, and you're going to want to preheat it over high heat. And now you want to add a little bit of oil and butter. I like to always combine them just for a little bit of flavor. The real goal here is just to give all of your aromatics enough juices to start working and warming up in there. Now you want to add all of your aromatics, all that ginger, that garlic, and your lemongrass. Give it a stir. After all of the aromatics are incorporated, add in however much heat you like. I like mine a little bit spicy. Stir it all in. You'll start to smell that garlic and that ginger. And you're going to let this almost brown. You don't want it to get bitter yet, but you do want it to get some color. Now at this point, I would usually add my salt and pepper, but what you'll notice is that the seawater from the mussels actually adds just a delightful saltiness to it that you won't even miss the salt. Once things start to brown and stick to the bottom of your pan a little bit, you're going to want to add in your mussels. Give them a good toss. And then immediately add your white wine. Just enough to cover the bottom of the pan and to let them steam. Turn up the heat back to the high if you had to turn it down while you were browning the aromatics. And throw a lid on it. You're going to want to leave the lid on for about 4 minutes to start. That way it'll capture all of the heat, all of the steam, and hopefully let those mussels relax and open up perfectly. At the 4-minute mark, let's see what they look like. You can see that they've started to open and let out some of their briny broth. So now with this recipe, we're going to remove them, turn off the heat, remove the mussels onto a separate dish, and cook down the broth a little bit to make this really intense sauce. With a traditional French cuisine, you would probably just dump this into a bowl and serve it as is. So using a slotted spoon, just pull them all out. We're pretty lucky, most of ours have opened up. If there were any that are still closed, like, nope, I still don't see any, you'd want to pull them out now. Those you would not want to eat. So along with pulling out the mussels, I also grabbed the 2 little sticks of lemongrass. So we'll turn back on the heat. It's about medium-high. And we'll add in just a splash of coconut milk. This gives it a really creamy, a totally unique flavor. Over medium-high heat, you're going to let this reduce for probably about another 4 minutes. After 4 minutes of reducing down, this is what your broth is going to look like. The really only thing you're looking for here is to make sure that that white wine has cooked off. Oh, it's perfect. So we'll turn off the heat. Traditionally, the way that the French would serve this is with, of course, a piece of crusty French baguette. But since we're doing the Asian-inspired theme, I feel we should serve it over rice. So from here, you'll take your mussels and place them on top of your bed of rice. Now top it off with a heaping amount of your broth. Don't forget your lime and a little bit of your cilantro and parsley mixture. And that is how local Ambrosia does mussels.